Here's Jordan Joe Hollabaugh.
3.1. She's in the money.
She was about as fast as she could have been on that
one. 2.9 seconds. And now she is number one.
You are officially in the loop. 15 Days of Breakaway in the Loop podcast. Welcome back. I'm your host, Jordan Joe Hollabaugh. Today, we are talking to a young lady from Council Grove, Kansas, number 9, Miss Bo Peterson, second-time National Finals Breakaway Open qualification. And Bo talks a little bit about the journey. You know, the first qualification she had was in 2022, showing back up for the second time in 2025. But in the meantime, she's built her own business within herself. She is a huge futurity trainer at the Roping Horse Futurities. She's riding her own horses plus other people's horses. She's just capitalized. But it's really neat to have watched this cowgirl evolve in breakaway roping as a young lady, and she's just stepping into her rights. She talks a little bit about what's going on in the mindset and how she's changed from a competitor from 2022 to 2025. And this Council Grove cowgirl is really, really excited to be at her second National Finals Breakaway Roping. Thank you to Wrangler for bringing us this segment on 15 Days of Breakaway, Long Live Cowgirls. And we're excited and jumping in to talking to Bo. Take a listen. We're here on 15 Days of Breakaway, coming in today with number 9. She's from Council Grove, Kansas. This is her second time qualifying to the National Finals Breakaway Roping. One of my favorite young women, Miss Beau Peterson, is coming in today with $120,000 and $120. That's a really good numbers.
Yeah.
And 68 rodeos. Beau, congratulations on your second National Finals Breakaway Roping qualification.
Thank you so much.
What does it feel like to get back again? You know, your first qualification, we're reminiscing about the good old times, was in 2022. It was the first time you made it. And Breakaway has come a long way since then. But man, this has got to be very rewarding to get your second back number and come in with these kind of numbers.
Yeah, really rewarding. I kind of took longer than I was hoping it would take to get my second qualification, but it's also kind of been a blur at the same time. Time goes by fast, but yeah, I'm just happy to be back for a second time.
Yeah. And let's break that down into the stats of this qualification. You came in number 2022. You were a rookie. I say you were a baby because I've known you for a long time, which makes me old, and you're not as old. But came in number 11th with $56,085, and you went to 74 rodeos. Mm-hmm. And you and I were just visiting about how much breakaway roping has evolved. 2023, you won $53,000. We're in the top 20. 2024, you won $48,000 in the top 20. This year, $120,000. So how has it evolved and where has it changed for you as an athlete?
It's insane. I mean, just the rodeos that have added us the last couple of years, let alone this year. You know, Calgary was added us, and that's been huge for us this year being in the rodeo. That's probably one of the biggest ones that, you know, stepped up this year. That's made such a big difference. There's just so much money to be won in the breakaway right now. It's an amazing time to be a part of the event. But yeah, when you're saying those stats, it's crazy. You know, 50,000 stuff. You really, you know, and that made the finals the last few years. And yeah, now I'm at 120, and I'm just like middle of the pack, kind of towards the bottom. It's insane the money to be won, and it's awesome. I mean, the amount of great breakaway ropers that are going down the road that you're having to beat, it's insane, and it's so tough. And I think that's why our numbers are so high now, is just the competition is insane, and it's so tough. And, you know, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. Well, and two, it just seems to me like breakaway was just so exciting to watch this year, which we're both biased because we're breakaway ropers, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we do is we eat, sleep, and we breakaway rope. But it was exciting to watch the breakaway this year. It's like 100,000. You know, I remember when we started rodeoing in 2020 and they put it in professional rodeos. We had 50 rodeos that we were allowed, you know, had approved. And coming into the finals that first year, I think I had like 36,000 and came in number 4. Like it was just so surreal to see that it's evolved that much. And everybody's evolved with it. Like you said, it's just the competition is fierce and there's a ton of it. How have you changed as a competitor from 2022 until now?
I think my horsepower has changed. You know, the last couple of years, I feel like I've kind of lacked it. And I mean, I'm not blaming my horsepower on not making the finals, obviously. I'm kind of the problem there, but horsepower's changed, and I'm riding a new horse that I got in March, and he's really kind of upped my game and gave me the confidence I didn't really know I was missing out on. He's a little bit older, and he's just kind of been there, done that, and I really just get to focus on me and roping. Something I feel like learned from the last few years is just having a short-term memory. I was one that kind of would dwell on the losses and really just kind of beat myself up. And I feel like this year I really had a short-term memory and just kind of, if it didn't go good, you just look forward to the next one, because just the amount of great rodeos that we had to go to this summer and I mean through the winter and stuff was there was always another really good one coming up. So you just kind of got to keep looking forward, and you can't get hung up on the losses and what went wrong. Just kind of got to live and learn and nod your head and look forward to that next calf you get to run, because there's a lot of money up.
Yeah. And that's a great philosophy. And we hear that a lot, but being actually able to apply it is a different story, right? Because I feel like a lot of women, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but battle with perfectionism, right? We want it to be perfect. We want to show up. We want to do the best. And so that is something you hear a lot. Well, short-term memory, but like actually being able to apply it and execute it, not just a little bit, but from October to September for the whole year. That's a pretty big accomplishment. And I think that's some great advice. You mentioned horsepower. One of the cool things that, for me as the host of In the Loop podcast and doing 15 Days of Breakaway for 5 years now, I've kept all my records and all my stats because I'm a weirdo. But in 2022, we were talking about Missy. She was right there in the Horse of the Year hunt. She was a phenomenal sorrel mare, and you didn't have her the 2 years after that. So I want you to tell me a little bit about what Missy's doing now and what her job occupation is. And then also share with us a little, you rode a lot of horses this year, but your little roan horse was somebody that definitely showed up and showed out for you. So tell us about Missy, where she's at today, and then tell us a little bit about your new horse.
Yeah, Missy is in Kansas right now at my parents' house. She is living her best life. She's being a mama. I got 2 babies out of her this year, and then she's bred again. So I'm going to get 2 babies out of her next year. So she's just raising new babies for me to hopefully make into good horses eventually. But she's just out there raising babies right now. But this horse I got now, his name's Festus. I bought him this spring right before Houston. I actually bought him 2 days before I went to Houston. And I give all the credit to Tacey, one of my best friends, Tacey Webb. She's the one that kind of found him for me and told me I needed to go try him. And so we went and tried him, and he was good. He was a fit, just super simple and easy. And that's kind of what my roping needed, something that I could just hop on and not have to worry about much. And I ride a lot of young horses, and so I'm always kind of picking on them and, worrying about what my horse is doing and trying to make them be the best they can. And when I get on Festus, I definitely just worry about me being the best I can. I know he's going to do his job every single time, and it's been really good for my roping and just being able to rodeo and not worry about him. He definitely has the biggest personality, I think, of any horse that I've ever had. There's a lot to him, but he does his job, and so I put up with all the excess attitude that he has.
My favorite thing that he's got is he's got this like little kink in his tail and pep to his step. And if you don't know he's there, he's going to let you know he's there.
Oh, yeah. I might bump into you, and I'm really sorry if I do, because it's not on purpose, and I really can't control where we're going. But he does his job, so I put up with it.
He does his job. And that's one of the cool parts that I truly appreciate about what we get to do is learning the personalities of these horses, which Cookie and Leonard, but Leonard especially, like I think him and they might be related in their personalities of some sort. Like it's just they make you laugh and they have this huge personality and this little bitty body, and it's just like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, I honestly try to ride another horse and just pony him to warm up because he just wears me out.
So when you have Bo come up to you and ask you if you want her to warm her horse up, that is why.
Yeah, exactly. He's a handful, but
and I think it was really neat to watch you just capitalize and win on him. So let's walk back through memory lane of this year. Starting at Houston, you came away with 15,000. There was several different wins. Take us through those wins and through the 2025 season.
Yeah, I think definitely starting off on him at Houston was a huge confidence boost for me on him. We made the 4-man. I didn't do my job in the 4-man, but walked away with a good amount of money there. And so that I think kind of got the ball rolling for us for the season. He's just so easy and kind of a breath of fresh air. I didn't realize what I was lacking in the horse department for rodeoing, and he definitely filled those shoes, and I'm really, really grateful for him. But yeah, Houston kind of started us off, and then just kind of coasted along. I won Liberty Hill on him. I was 1-7 there, so that kind of shocked me. I kind of thought we were going to be kind of a long setup kind of horse, and then he kind of stepped up there and gave me some confidence and a quick setup on him. And then, yeah, just kind of coasted along, did good at Dodge City and Caldwell, and the Northwest was good to us for sure. And he's stepped up, and calves that are a little stronger and maybe not great calves, he definitely maximized my opportunity on them. I remember in Ellensburg, I drew 2 strong calves, a strong one in the second round and then a strong one in the short round. And I wasn't really excited to run him, and he gave me a better shot than I probably should have had on him, and allowed me to win something on him. And so I think that just kind of made me appreciate him even more, that he allowed me to win on calves that were maybe not ideal.
And I think that that's something that as you're out there and you're rodeoing that you experienced more than none, right? Because a lot of the times we rope retired, tie down calves in the breakaway. And so we don't, the draw is crucial. The draw is huge. And I think you're drawing your horsepower. I mean, there's so many girls at this point in time that rope at such an elite level. I think that those two things really play into the opportunities that you see people have and capitalize on them, right? You still have to capitalize, but talk a little bit about like how that happens more than not, right? You're when we see you show up with 120,000, it wasn't because you drew lopers all year long.
Mm-hmm.
You did capitalize on those calves and those that stand out. How have you learned that through your career, these last 4 years of pro rodeoing, to read cattle and go into that just a little bit deeper?
I probably don't read cattle as good as I should, especially coming from a ranching background.
We won't tell your parents.
Yeah. I asked my dad, I'm like, how do you, can you help me, learn how to read cattle a little bit better? And I think he thinks I'm a lost cause, but in that department. Yeah, he's always told me that, you got to, when you get a good calf, which is not probably going to be very often, you have to maximize. And, you can't lay off the barrier at all in our sport, especially if you get a good calf. And that always used to kind of be my whole was, okay, I got a good calf, a little softer. I'm going to be a little off the barrier and just, use him. And you can't do that anymore. So I think just knowing that I have to be close to the barrier every single time. And my horse he's really strong across the line and really hustles to the calves. And so that's really just helped me on stronger calves. I feel like we rope a lot of stronger calves, and just knowing that you have to take the shot, even if it's not comfortable or an easy shot. You're going to have to maximize opportunities. And yeah, that's something he's helped me out with a lot, was just giving me better shots than I think most horses would, you know what I mean? And I watch Shelby and Josie and all them, they have amazing horsepower, and I've just watched their horses give them good goes on maybe not great calves. And so just realizing that, you can't just wait till every single time you get a good calf, that's going to be your only chance to win. You have to kind of make the most out of any opportunity. And so I think that's kind of a mindset I've had, was just, do the best you can on what you draw, and you're going to have to kind of pull some stuff out of your hat every once in a while. And, but I feel like my horse has really helped me, on not some ideal draws that I've had this summer.
Yeah. Another rodeo that really stand out, because you're a 2-time champion and reigning champion there, is Caldwell, Idaho. Mm-hmm. And we were joking earlier and said that, that rodeo is just good to me. That's something, as we all rodeo, we kind of get an ebb and flow for what rodeos are good to you and what rodeos maybe they don't like Bo Peterson there.
Yeah, exactly.
So how have you started to kind of strategically plan out? We had an 80 rodeo count this year. Mm-hmm. 2022, you went to 74 rodeos, made the finals. We didn't have a rodeo count that year. 2024, we had 100 rodeo count. We saw almost, I would say 14 out of the 15 girls went pretty close to 100 rodeos. Mm-hmm. And then this year it's 80. So knowing what as a veteran mindset now, how do you map out and navigate the rodeos that you want to go to?
I probably played it a little safe last year. I think only got to 68, and I mean, our count was 80. I just didn't really know how it was going to play out towards the end, and you definitely don't want to get yourself too tight when you get to the end if it's a tight race and you need to be going to some rodeos. So I kind of know a little bit better from this year going into next year, what I can go to, and I'll probably go a little bit more in the spring than I did last spring just because I have some rodeos to play with that I didn't go to last year. But yeah, it's kind of an adjustment going from 100 rodeo count to 80. Some of us were a little like timid as far as just getting to rodeos and stuff because you're like, we don't really know, what the end of the season looks like for us. But now that we have 1 year under our belt with 80 rodeo count, it's going to be a little easier to navigate next year. But the Northwest is definitely a priority on my list. It seems to usually be pretty good to me, and I like those rodeos a lot. So those are definitely ones that I'm going to be at, most of them, every year. So probably the Northwest is kind of a highlight to my season.
Yeah. And within your season, you navigate not only pro rodeos, but now you are a renowned roping fraternity trainer, rider, all the things. You have won countless. I don't even know what your current like lifetime earnings in roping fraternities are because Google doesn't provide that. But I know that you've won a ton of money at the roping fraternities since you've made the national finals the first time. And that was something that just kind of came into play. And you were at the forefront and one of the women leaders in that industry. How does that fit into pro rodeo and rodeo and all year? I know they have fraternities throughout the year. Give us a breakdown of what that looks like from the competitions to the horsepower to riding those horses and how you're making it work in both areas.
It's very hectic right now because we're getting horses ready for next week at the Gold Buckle Fraternity. So I'm kind of in fraternity mode right now. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun being a part of the fraternities. Yeah, I kind of got thrown into it. What was it? A few years ago, 3 years ago, maybe when they first kind of came about, and got really lucky and had some success at the first one. And then it's just kind of been a domino effect since there as far as riding horses for other people and stuff. But there's a lot of great events that we go to through the year for the fraternities. You got the Gold Buckle fraternities, Royal Crown, you got Riata Buckle, the Old West fraternity, Solo Select just came out with one this year. It's definitely a priority of mine to get to the fraternities because I love riding the young horses and I love showing them. I'm super fortunate to be able to ride a lot of horses for a lot of people. But yeah, we get pretty fortunate. I think there's one show, maybe two shows to go to through the summer. So it's pretty easy to rodeo and then fraternity still. They don't really overlap too much because, rodeoing is all summer long for the most part that you're gone. All my fraternity horses get turned out during the summer at my parents' house just because, we can't be hauling them around and riding them still. So they get a little break, which I think is really deserved. And I think it's kind of a good system as far as kind of riding them and keeping them trained and then giving them some time off because they're young horses. But yeah, right now is a little busy right before the finals trying to get all these horses ready for the show next week. But it's pretty easy to kind of juggle both of them. I feel like, the seasons don't really overlap too much. So you're able to kind of juggle them both.
Within the experiences you've had in pro rodeo and then also within the fraternities, you've been put in a lot of pressure situations and you've learned to capitalize in those situations. What are some ways that you have found that work for you and maybe don't work for you on how to balance your expectations when, just like we talked a little bit earlier, we work really hard and we have high expectations when we show up. If, learning how to navigate that, go a little bit deeper on what are some of the ways that you found that work and maybe some of the ways you found that don't.
Oh, that's hard. I feel like the less pressure you put on yourself, the better it is for me. I like coming in probably second or third call, just kind of, it allows me, I feel like, to apply a little pressure and not, have all the pressure on me. But if you're coming in like high call or something, you just got to just keep doing what was obviously working and what got you there and just stay confident. And usually I feel like when you're coming in a good position, you're kind of in a flow and in a rhythm at whatever place it is. So you just try not to change too much or think too much. I think when I think less, it's the better for me. And so I try not to let my brain go too much. But I don't know, just trying to stay confident and know that, we've put in the hours and the time, and just try not to think too much and apply too much pressure on yourself is kind of what I've realized to help, I guess. I don't know. It's hard. It's easy to overthink and, there's always going to be another rodeo and another short round. And then, you're always going to have another one to go to. So if it doesn't go good, it's very frustrating. And I've been there and everyone's been there, and it's going to happen, but there'll be another one that, is going to go your way. And so I try to just, I feel like this year I've tried to put less pressure on myself and just, we're all human, and it's hard to see, I feel like there's a handful of people you see that are always winning and, never make mistakes, but that's not true. Everyone makes mistakes and goes through the highs and lows. So I guess just trying to just stay confident in myself and know that if there's a low, you're going to ride through it, and there's going to be a high again soon.
Yeah. I love that mentality. And I think that too, that just comes with experience. Like you were saying, back to what you were saying a little bit earlier, it's that short-term mindset and,
Yes.
that quick turnover and less pressure, right? Less thinking, less pressure. But it's pretty impressive to me as I've watched you rope and evolve in your career, just how I've seen you execute that. And so I'm very proud of you for doing that. But we were talking a little bit earlier. You said Tacey Webb is one of your good friends. Bless her heart. She's one of mine too. So she didn't get to choose. But tell us a little bit about what's in your rig. Who's in your rig? I know when we talked in 2022, you had some traveling partners and 4 of them actually.
Yeah.
And so now how does that look in 2025? And what's in your rig from your equipment to your saddles, bridles, your ropes? Just if we're going to go and take a sneak peek in Bo Peterson's rig, what are we going to find?
Yeah, so Madison Uthier and I have traveled together the last couple years. She got hurt last year, so our traveling was kind of cut short last year, but we made up for it this year, I think, and we've had some good times. But yeah, it's kind of funny. When I started, there's 4 of us in a rig. It was Taylor Hanchy, Tacey Webb, Maddie, and I, and then it was Taylor, Maddie, and I, and then it's just been Maddie and I now. So we've kind of lost a traveling partner each year, but no, it's been good. It's a really good dynamic that we all have, and we all cheer for each other and get along, and we're all still great friends. And it's been a really good dynamic. I feel like when you get that many girls, it's kind of hard to all stay friends and keep cheering for each other. But I'm super grateful for the circle I got. But yeah, it's Maddie and I now. So we definitely have our rig packed to the brim between just 2 of us now. We have a lot of options on everything.
I would like to note that your first rig was one rig, and
Yes.
it didn't have a back tack. It only had it did have a back tack, but it was like a back load and a back tack. So there was 4 saddles, and I remember Taylor saying, "I don't know how we're going to fit 4 saddles, 4 pads, 4 or 10 rope cans. Like I just don't know where we're going to put everything." And now you've got 2 people, and it's packed to the brim, and I think you have 2 rigs.
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely have way more stuff now than we did with 4 girls. I think we both have probably 4 or 5 rope cans, and I'm a bit guru, and so I have so many bits for different setups and stuff, even if it's just for one horse. Definitely lots of options there, but we definitely have more ropes than I think anything, because that's just, you don't know what ropes are going to feel like in what weather, and so we like to have options in that. But as far as, we both have 2 horses going down the road. Tack room's packed. We like to have a lot of clothing options, shoes options. We have everything anyone could possibly need. We have a beamer in our trailer for the horse. We got anything and everything anyone could possibly need in that rig.
You need it. Talk to Bo. She's got it.
Yes, we probably have it.
Expand a little bit on the ropes. You were talking about, you don't know how your ropes are going to feel when you get there, when you show up, what it looks like. So how do you navigate that? How do you prepare for that being gone for so long?
I'm not loyal to like one rope. I have every kind of rope you probably could think of. I'll use Vipers. I really like using the Rattler Vipers, like especially at the futurities and stuff. I really like that kind of rope, and I feel like they're a snappy rope. So I use them a lot at the futurities usually. And then I've been using the 3-string Kings. I like them a lot right now. I'm just kind of new to them and just been introduced. So I've been kind of trying them out, but I really like them. And then I've been using Willards too. So I don't know. I'm kind of swing them the day of and see how they feel and then go with whatever feels best. But I mean, you should see my room and my tack room. There's just ropes laid out all over.
Just ropes.
I like options.
Bo and her ropes. I like options too. I can't say anything about that because I have a ton of ropes everywhere. I'm very stingy with my ropes. I don't share my ropes. I don't let people touch my ropes. So,
Exactly.
I mean,
I'm very
feel
particular.
you there.
Yeah.
Are there any other, you said you're a bit guru. I know that we see, in the breakaway roping, I think we're starting to evolve there and really kind of try more. And girls are getting to know like, hey, this is the kind of bit I ride and this is why. So give us some examples of some of the bits that you ride and why you ride them.
I feel like riding a lot of young horses too kind of gives me like a way to try different bits and see, there so many horses, might not like the same bit as other ones. You know what I mean? There's so many options and almost too many options as far as bits in this world. But I really like Carrie Kelly bits. I have probably 5 of them that, I bounce between. There's 2 Carrie Kelly bits that I ride on Festus through the summer that I really liked on him. I have Gordy Alderson bits. I have Randy Reed bits. There's so many different kinds of bits that I have, and I love buying new ones just to try them out. I just like to have options because I don't know. They're just so fascinating to me. I probably don't know enough about them, but I think they look cool, and I'm gonna try them. And I love asking people, bit makers about them, and just asking other people like. I don't know. When we're at jackpots and stuff, I look at all the bits and see what people are riding on what horses and, just kind of, I like to ask them like, why are you riding that bit? And like, what does it feel like? And, I don't know. It's very fascinating to me.
Student of the game. I love to hear it.
Try to
when
be.
you find out some of those answers, let me know because a lot of people say that, I'm book smart, don't have a whole lot of common sense. I'm trying to learn in that area. So yeah, you can share that info with me as a friend. Who is somebody that has been one of the most influential people in your career, whether it's in or out of the arena?
I think I've started off with my parents. They've installed a lot of hard work in me, and I mean, just watching how they go about their days in and out. My dad is one of the hardest working people I know, and very intelligent on all aspects of life. And so I've learned a lot from him, and my mom's more on the encouraging and like emotional support, and my dad is more on the like mental and business aspect of things. But I'm really fortunate with great parents that want to see me succeed and are gonna help me with anything and everything I need, and they want the best for me, and they're gonna help me achieve my goals, and they're great supporters, and so I'm super grateful for them. I have another family friend that I live with through COVID, and I think I lived with them for 2 summers. They live in the Panhandle of Oklahoma. The Harlans, Mark and Kim Harlan, have been really influential in my life as well. They're like a second family to me. They're also, I call Mark all the time if I'm down in the dumps or if I need a little pep talk or encouragement. Between my mom and my dad and Mark, they're getting all my videos and helping me break things down and helping me through any slumps or, giving me a pat on the back when I need it. I have a really, really good support system.
Well, and that's huge. And I think that behind every contestant, every cowboy and cowgirl, you'll find we all have huge support systems. And so that's so sweet for us to see. Your mom used to be in my support system when she would bring me sweets, but she doesn't anymore. Noted. I hope she's listening to this. So next time, bring me sweets. You know what I like. But no, it's really neat to see and to meet all these families, especially for me, just to kind of learn and meet. But it is behind every contestant that is rising or to the top and or going through anything is a huge family and circle of supporters, and that's super important.
Yeah, it's awesome. I could go on and on about my list of support, and it's just, it takes a village for sure in what we do.
Yeah. Speaking of support and competitiveness, I know your family's probably not competitive at all. They probably just have knit sweaters and pet their cats. But pro fantasy is something that we all love to play and we're all very competitive about. But I know your family is especially your dad, which if anybody's met your dad, he doesn't say like 10 words in
No.
public. He's like, you could poke him with the needle and he wouldn't even scream. So, but he is very competitive. So tell us a little bit about his strategy on how he picks his Breakaway Pro Fantasy team. It's its own individual game, and that's what I love about it. It pays $10,000. Who doesn't want to walk away with $10,000 after being the breakaway guru at the Pro Fantasy Rodeo? So what goes into your dad picking those spots?
My dad will watch every single rodeo all summer long on the Cowboy Channel, and he is a student of the game for sure. Like, he studies and he watches all these ropers and stuff. So I'm sure he's got some good strategy as far as picking them. You know, he knows all the horses that are going, that people are riding, and how each girl ropes and how their style is. And so there's no telling how he's going to pick them, but I'm sure he's going to get his money's worth for sure.
Well, and I think that that's something as I'm starting to question more people about it, the horsepower now has come into it, huge factor. Not that it wasn't prior to this, but man, the horsepower that's out there right now is pretty dang crucial and sets it apart. And so I think a lot of these people are starting to become fans of these equine athletes just as much as we are. And they're starting to, I like Festus. Bo, she's okay, but we'll go with him. So
Yeah.
I think that that's pretty cool to see. But Pro Fantasy has always been a huge advocate for breakaway roping. They all send every one of the top 15 their caps every year. There's only 15 of those caps that go out. So they've been huge supporters for us, and we appreciate them. And playing the game is always fun because we can have a little, tattoo league side pot or something if you want to. Let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next supporter that we have that we're all really proud to be a part of is Power. Premier Women's Rodeo. We've been introducing that new name transition from the WRWC to now Premier Women's Rodeo. Tell us, Bo, do you go to the WRWC Power events in the past? Have you done that? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they're great events that, you got to have on your calendar to go to each year. They make it pretty easy to get qualified, and you just got to nominate. And they definitely try to work with everyone because, we're all going 100 miles an hour. And so they try to give you different avenues that you can go to get qualified. I know the first year they had it, I think I won second, and it was right behind Madison Uthier, and we were not traveling partners at the time. And so that's something I give her heck about because she had just won the American. And I'm like, man, could you not have given me that?
Stingy.
So stingy. But no, they're great events, and you definitely got to be at them if you're wanting to be a roper for sure.
Well, and they have a segment of power questions that we're asking everybody. So are you ready for the round of power questions?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. Every cowgirl has a fighter in her. If you had a fighter name, what would it be?
A fighter name. I feel like I get called a lot of names, but I don't really know. Probably just go with a simple one, Girl Bo. I get called Girl Bo a lot. I mean, kind of hard to tell, so call me Girl Bo.
It is hard to tell with the long blonde hair that you're a girl because Boy Bo also has long blonde hair. Tell us the backstory behind Girl Bo and Boy Bo. Why you guys are called that.
Bo Cooper and I both lived at Taylor and Shane Hanchey's. We've lived there for, a couple years ago. And they would just say, Bo. And we both look and not really sure which Bo they were talking to. And so finally, to simplify things, we had to have Girl Bo and Boy Bo. So that's the story there.
That's it. And that's why you would be the Girl Bo fighter. Okay.
I am the
question
Girl Bo.
number 2. If ESPN called tomorrow and said, we're drafting you into any sport you want, which one are you choosing?
Basketball.
You're a baller. Most people that are breakaway ropers are ballers. So I think we're inevitably going to need to get a basketball team put together and have a little bit of a competitive aspect that, 2025, 2026, while we're rodeoing next year, no big deal. Basketball.
Basketball court, yeah.
If your rodeo career was turned into a sports movie, who would play you?
A sports movie? That's really a tough question. Maybe I'll go Caitlin Clark because she's a baller.
There you go. There's been a couple Caitlin Clarks. I can see it.
She would just need blonde hair, but...
Yeah, I mean, like a very blonde, long wig with extensions, but we could fix her up.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate the Power Rapid Fire segment. Premier Women's Rodeo is huge and do all things for all women in rodeo, and we appreciate them. May 12th through 15th, 2026, Fort Worth, Texas. I know you and I will both be there roping for a chance at over $60,000 in the breakaway. I also saw that you and Madison are entered in the team roping at the WPRA finals, so I'm sure next year at the women's power segment, you're going to be team roping there too.
Yeah, we're going to see how it goes this weekend. This is our debut, so we'll see if we're still speaking by the end of it.
Will be continued maybe in May. We will see.
Yeah, catch us at the WPRA finals in the calf roping, heading, healing, all of it. It's going to be
They're going to be all around cowgirls. It will be live streamed, so if you want to tune in and see Bo get mauled, go for it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I've been practicing my calf roping, and so I'm going to be ready.
I'm impressed. I'll be watching.
I got to actually go tie a few from the post once we're done from here.
For another podcast episode 2.0 to be continued. As we wrap up here, obviously the main point of this conversation, Las Vegas, Nevada. You've been there once before. You placed in 4 out of 10 rounds. You're a veteran. You're experienced. You know what it's like in the back. You know what it's like in front. Everywhere you're going to run 10 calves. How are you planning and preparing going into this year's NFR? And what did you learn from your first NFR?
I think there's going to be a lot less nerves. You know, everyone, the first time, you have all these expectations and a lot of pressure on yourself. And like we've talked about, that's something I've tried to learn is to not put pressure on myself. I would really like to get an average win for sure. I think that's maybe kind of top of my list over there. I feel like I'm a fairly decent average roper. And so that's kind of going to be one of my goals. Kind of want to place in more than 4 out of 10 rounds like I did at the last one. But yeah, I'm going to try not to really change too much of my game. Just kind of go rope each calf for what they are and just have fun with it. I'm not really in a position to walk away with a world title. So I feel like if I can get an average title, that'll be kind of my top goal for this year. But yeah, just right now I haven't been in NFR mode yet because I've got all these maturity horses. But once the show's done next week, maybe ask me what my preparation looks like because it'll be
preparing for the NFR.
Yeah,
I thought that's why you were tying down calves to prepare.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Catch me at the Thomas and Mack.
I will say that a lot of the times I roped better when I tied down because I was so dang nervous about what happened at the end of that rope that I really wasn't worried about me catching the cow. I caught the cow. I was worried about getting mauled after that. So, maybe tie down is a good way to prepare for the NFR.
It might be, honestly. You don't worry about roping.
No, you don't. What is the biggest thing you're looking forward to at 2025 National Finals Breakaway Roping after you've been there, done that? What's one of the things you're most excited about?
I think this is one of the toughest group of girls, that we've had. I think it's been a tough race all year long. And the amount of money that's been won, from 1st to 15th in the standings is pretty incredible. And so I feel like we're all gonna, it's going to be a tough finals and it's going to be good watching for sure. So just the competition is going to be really stout and I'm just looking forward to being a part of it and seeing what everyone gets done. It's going to be good watching for sure.
Well, Beau Peterson coming in number 9. Congratulations on your second qualification for the National Finals Breakaway Roping. Can't wait to watch your Open Vegas. Thanks for coming on In the Loop podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You are officially in the loop.